Good evening, brothers and sisters. We're in County Durham today, land of the Prince Bishops, and special guest number 4 is Ricky Killeen. How are you, brother?
I'm good, brother.
Good to see you again, mate.
Nice to see you, mate.
As you know, on the Danny Christie show thus far, there's no edits, so you know, if we say how stupid, mate, we're just going to roll with it, alright?
No bother.
I just want to first say a little bit how I got onto you, mate. Obviously, we've just been speaking about, I keep in regular touch with Billy Moore. Billy Moore has sent us a little clip of Ricky's podcast saying, I've just done a belting podcast there with Ricky Killeen. Name never rang a bell. So it come out, the podcast, during which time he said he's brought his fitness book out in prison, and here it is. We'll get onto that shortly. And I typed up on Facebook, Ricky Killeen, found it, sent him a little message saying, you know, good luck with the book, I did a podcast with Billy, etc. And he said, Kushti, I'll send you a copy of the book. So the copy of the book came through the post, and I clocked his mug there, and I says, I know him. And we met in prison, didn't we?
We did, aye.
B-Wing.
December 2019, wasn't it?
That's right, mate.
Aye.
Absolutely. So, I do have a little particular style I'm trying to stick to, mate. I do know a little bit about your background, but for the benefit of the interview, mate, I believe you were born in Newcastle.
I was born in Newcastle, lived in Elsick. It was a rough part of the town.
Yes.
We lived there for about 5 years with me ma, me dad, my brother and my sister. And obviously at the time it was a rough area, like I said, there was Elsick riots going on at the time. Loads of madness, so my mum and dad tried to get us a bit of a better start in life, bit of a better life.
Yes, mate.
We moved over here, over into Stanley, South Stanley, and we moved into the roughest street in the place.
Out the frying pan in the frying pan.
Aye, straight aye.
Yes,
but I loved it, mate, because there was always something happening, getting up to mischief and that, and it was just like a big fucking playground, you know, just getting up to mischief.
Yeah.
Getting into bother.
Can you remember the move? You remember coming here as you?
I can't really remember because, like I say, I was 5, mate, but I can remember back to when I was about 6, 7.
What was your relationship with your mum and dad like?
I've had a mint relationship with my mum and dad, aye.
Mint.
But they broke up when I was about, I think I was 7 or 8. We lived together for about 3 years when we moved over here. And then my mum and dad split up a few years later.
Unfortunate, mate.
Yeah.
I want to touch a little bit on as you were younger. Obviously, I've done a little bit of research, and you know, I believe, you know, you kind of wanted to follow in your dad's footsteps. You know, I believe your dad was a bit of a criminal himself.
I was. From the age of 12, when my dad was 12, up until the age of 27, he was in and out of prison, Borstles. He'd spent 14 years in jail altogether, and then when he got to 27, that's when it was his last time in. Then, right before he went back in, but he met me ma and had us, so he sort of settled down then.
You always look up to your dad growing up?
I did, but I always grew up knowing that my dad had been to prison from the age of like 6, 7 year old. And my dad used to tell us the stories about when he was in prison, and he used to like sort of glamorize it, because he used to tell us about when he used to be fighting with the screws, and back then he used to tell us the stories when he was going mental, being bashing the screws and that. They used to charge you with a mattress and inject you to fucking knock you out because you were, you know?
Liquid cosh.
So he was telling me these stories, and I was like, from a young age, I was buzzing off it, looking up, you know what I mean? And then I had people around us, older lads, similar sort of things, you know, and it was just like destined to happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So your dad a bit of a well-known fella back where he was from, and
he was, aye.
He
was,
So I can relate to that a little bit, mate, because I remember watching it and listening to you saying that, and you know, it reminded me a little bit of you know, my growing up. You know, my dad was a bit of a career criminal himself, and unfortunately he died when I was 3, but he was always glamorised, and he was all, everybody that I knew that knew him always sort of put him up there, and in like a criminal sort of circles he was very well respected, and he was a mad thief, burglar, robber, career criminal, twocker.
Yeah.
And I you know, a little bit of that rubbed off on me for all the wrong reasons, you know, but you know the way it was, the glamorisation of it all, you know, you think it's cushy, don't you, when you grow up, you know, for all the wrong reasons. But and like you said, mate, I heard you say, you know, you want to be just like your dad, don't you? For better, for worse, mate, it's what you want.
You do, aye.
Aye, mate.
It's like I say, from the age of 7, as mad as it sounds to people back home sitting watching this who's never been to prison before, never grew up in that lifestyle, like fucking what sort of kid, 7-year-old wants to go to jail, you know what I mean? Like I've got kids now, I've got 4 kids under the age of 10, and I'd be horrified if the third one's fucking, like I don't glamorise it to them, I keep them, they know, my 2 youngest kids don't because they're only 4 and 5, well my oldest 2 do, but they've got their heads screwed on, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I don't want them going down that same route, you know what I mean?
Yes, mate. Yes, mate. You've got a brilliant channel and a brilliant message, which we'll get to shortly. Tell us a little bit about your early teens and your mid-teens, you know, growing up round here. I can imagine it being a bit rough and ropey around these parts.
Like I see, it's rough around these parts, and it's all sort of fun back then when you're just getting into trouble. And I remember like the first time I got in trouble with the coppers was when I was a 7-year-old, just down the street from where we're at now, Stanley Front Street, shoplifting out of Winners. I do not remember Winners.
I do, mate. Aye.
Pinching bottles of aftershave and cassette tapes that were big down them VHS
yes,
tapes.
Mate.
We're going in there just pinching them because we used to go around the door selling them for a bit of money just to get sweets and that, you know, because didn't have much growing up and that. But I remember we'd been in and out of the shop about 5 times, and I snuck back in, getting a bit too greedy. Got nabbed off the security guards, and the 7-year-old got locked up.
Well, did you get locked up or did they take you home?
They took us to the police station. My dad had to come and get us. He took us to my nana's house, and my nana was quite strict. She gives a boot up the arse on the way through the door. Get in there, you little bastard.
What sort of well, how was your dad with you when he come, you know, when he come for you? How can you remember how he was with you?
See, that was it was never like a deterrent sort of thing with my dad, because he always said to us from an early age, if you're out in the street or out getting into mischief, come and tell me before the fucking coppers come to the door, so I know what to say. So it was like, I never got told off. It was always like,
ready. Yes. So were you involved in a lot of, how can I say it? You know, I don't want to glamorise it here, but you can't help but say how it is, mate. You know, it's a buzz, isn't it? You know, when you're that teen and you're in a crowd and you're in a clique and you're one of the boys and you're like a young to mid-teen and you're loving a bit of fighting and twocking and thieving and stuff, you know. Tell us a little bit about that, mate. You know, your mid-teens and that, knocking about with the boys.
When I got up to the senior school, because I got kicked out of my primary school for good, because the headmaster was a bit of a, he was a fucking arsehole. He was 6'4", big bloke. And if you were fighting in the playground, because I've always been fighting when I was a kid, you would get ahead of you and drag you through all the classrooms, banging your head off the fucking walls like proper. When you look back now, 6'4" bloke, 20-year-old, big rugby player. So he done it to resist one time, and I had a big bruise down my back. My mum and dad had seen it, they went fucking mental. And me and my mate went back down at the weekend. We fucking just smashed every single window in the school, just like rebelling, retaliate, you know what I mean? But I got kicked out of that school for good, and then went to the senior school, and then we just started smoking dope, drinking beer. This was from the age of 11. But the first time I had a bit of dope as well was, I think I was about 8-year-old. One of the older lads was smoking it, gives a couple of draws and that, you know. But I was just drinking from the age of 11, drinking cider, pound bottle of cider.
Another one.
Yes, so and then it moved on to the dope. It was tack at the time. It was none of this skunk up to boot. No, it was all the wood.
Of course.
So smoking the dope all the time and just fucking skiving off school. And then as we got a bit older, got into the E's and that. And then we were gone in the local club round here from the age of 14, because we knew the head doorman and that and the bouncers. But would it be in there just fucking anyone fucking on with us would just set about them and that, and just fighting and just loving it really.
You say you were quite violent even at that age?
Oh, there was a lot of violence happening out. It was like we're having fights and that, but then we began that next day a little bit fucking further by using bottles and smashing bottles off people's heads and that. I never went out looking for it, I never started it, but
you were ready.
I always finished it.
See, I relate to a little bit growing up, we had a bit of a rough crowd of lads and that, but I mean, I never knew what a fair play fight was. You know, there was no such thing when we were growing up. It was all gang fights, and you know, the first thing you would do was hit them with a stick or a weapon or whatever he had on you. You know what I mean? Fair fights just didn't exist. You know, there was all gangs, wasn't it? You know, gangs of lads, and you weren't scared of kicking the lads when they were down. It was kind of what the main thing what was done, wasn't it?
It was,
Yeah. So, sort of to your late sort of teens, and I know you weren't first sent away till you were 20. Was that right?
20-year-old,
Tell us about the little run up towards that. A couple of years before that, you know, as how your behavioural patterns, what sort of things you were doing, who you were knocking about with.
Running up to that, there was always there was always 5 of us in the group. There was like a close bond. We grew up together from the age of 11, and we're always, like I say, we were all there for each other, so we had a bit of a clique, you know. And
yes,
it was mainly every weekend just out drinking, fighting, and just fucking going up to concert, which is the next town from here.
Yes, mate.
And like fighting with them lot up there.
Another rough little spot.
Another rough spot.
Mate.
But and then leading up to that, I was about 19 when the first one happened. I was at a house party. Went into a house party with a load of lads. Everyone was drinking and that. There was a lad that was a bit older than me, and I was actually on leaving the house, and he turned around, he said something to us, and I says, "What did you fucking say?" And he says, "You know, but a fucking divvy." So I've just went like, bang, knocked him clean out. But I've just dived on top of him with 2 bottles and just fucking smashed him all over with them. And then left him on the floor in a pool of blood, you know, just. But at that time, I think I was 20-year-old, and the coppers were looking for us. They'd been down my mum's house, she rang us up and says, "Oh, look at the busies are looking for you." And because I was in that mindset and I wanted to go to prison, I went and handed myself in, because they were looking for my mate as well. They were looking for 2 of us, but my mate had already been to prison for a stabbing. So I said to him, I says, "I'll go and hand myself in, I'll take it on my toes, you know," because my mate jumped in as well with a bottle, so it was fucking... So I went and handed myself in, and I just said to them, "Look, it was me." They were surprised, because I went to the police station and it was all shut, it was locked. I'm fucking banging on the front of the business here like a lunatic. And they've gone, "What do you want?" I says, "What I want?" I said, "You fucking want us, don't you?" So they say, "Go around the back in the car park." So I went round the back, and they say, "Fucking hell, surprised to see you here." And then fucking, I went in all that, kept us in, put us in, obviously because I was pissed. So waited until the next day, got interviewed, and I just said, "It was me," tell them it was me. I was expecting them to remand us, because that's what I was wanting.
So you walked
went to the custody desk, and the guy say, "Right, you're getting bailed to come back such and such." I was like, "I'm getting bailed?" I says, "I'll fucking tell you, man." I said, "I've done it." I says, "Fucking, like, it's not gonna end here. You know," I says, "Fucking, if you don't lock us up, something else is gonna happen. Simple as, you know."
And it did.
And then 2 weeks before I was due to get sentenced for
was
that.
there a proper legitimate desire to go to prison at that point in that police station? Legitimate desire to go to prison? Wow.
I was actually gutted because they let us out. I was like, fucking hell, what do I have to do, you know what I mean? So
you're on bail, you get out.
I'm on bail.
Team right back up with the lads.
Back out, drinking, fighting, just up to the same old. And then I remember it was this one Sunday afternoon. The lad in particular is he'd battered my sister a couple of weeks previously. And
were you actively looking for him at this point?
Straight away I went looking for him. I went running out the house because I always had fucking tools and that with us all the time. My sister rang us up 5 o'clock in the morning crying on, saying he's just filled us in.
Was it a fella at the time?
It was our friend's boyfriend,
right.
But they were fucking sitting. I knew who he was, and I knew that he fucking took Valium or not, and I said to my sister, I said, "Whatever you do, don't let him in your house," you know what I mean? So just rang us up 5 o'clock in the morning crying her eyes out, fucking saying he's done us in. So I've just went running out the house with a machete running down the street. But at this point there was blue flashing lights at the bottom, so I ran back in the house. And then it was a couple of weeks later, he's rang up, fucking on, shouting on, doing the phone and that. So I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? You know what I mean? Do you think I'm some mug? So I just went like that. I said, do you realise what you've just fucking done? Just went like that, hung up the phone, rang one of my other pals, picked us up, flew up, fucking balaclavas on, running up and doing the back street looking for it because I didn't know which one it was, and then I rang someone that told us what number it was. And I've just ran in, just fucking booted the door. It was like a double glazing door. And the doors just come flying off, landed in the fucking kitchen. And I've just ran over the door, me and my mate, balaclavas on, machetes, and he's sitting there on the settee, and I've just started fucking, me and my mate just started chopping him off.
Chopped up badly?
Oh, I nearly chopped his arm off. His arm was hanging off.
Oh.
First swipe, and then fucking he put his arm up like that, and then his arm's hanging off. And then we're just hacking away at the back of his head, just going fucking sick.
Do you regret that now looking back?
I regretted looking back, I fucking...
We'll get a little bit to that, mate, you know, out looking back. So, you've done this there to this fella. You know, at the time you're thinking it's right, you're thinking serving justice, aren't you, at the time?
Aye.
Tell us a little bit about the road to you getting, did you go and hang yourself in this time? Or
I did actually, I fucking, yeah. Because...
You made aware the police were looking for you again, obviously.
The police were looking for us. I'd been there, my mum had rang us up again, fucking my poor mother, coppers were at the door every weekend looking for us. But she's rang us up saying the busies are looking for you. She says there's fucking loads of them this time, they've raided the house. So it was about 2 weeks later, I've been stopping at my mate, just stopping on the city, just getting wrecked fucking every night, getting pissed. And like I was sick of just stopping at my mates, waiting for them fucking coming. And it was actually a week before my 21st birthday. And I'd always wanted to go into the young offenders as well. So I was sitting up the bar this night getting pissed with all the lads, it was about 10 of us. It was 12 o'clock at night and I says, right lads, fucking down me pint off, I says I'm off. So I'm going to hand myself in. Same thing happened, went to the same police station, the front's all shut, banging on the front like a lunatic. And they're like looking out, because it's like shut during the night, but it's still like a holding place now for overnight. So same again, fucking like looked through and that, and I said, fucking hell. And I said, gone round the back, so I went into the car park. And they said, what are you doing? I said, I've come to fucking, what am I doing? I said, I've come to hand myself in.
Me again.
I'm here again. Didn't let us out this time. Obviously I knew that time because of how serious it was, like I wasn't getting back out. So but obviously this time I just said no comment. Got remanded.
What was the local remand centre for the YOs at that point?
It was Cassington Young Offenders. So I went to court, put us in the paddy wagon, went on the way up to fucking Cassington. But on the way up, I was sitting in the paddy wagon, had Galaxy radio on. I'm just sitting there in the back, just fucking bopping away to the music and all that, just fucking loving it, thinking I'm on my way now.
Were you rough and ready for jail in your head, you know?
I was ready for that. I knew what was coming. I grew up from the age of 7 knowing what it's like and how to handle yourself. Anyone fucks on you, get stuck in, you know what I mean? So, same sort of thing. I remember sitting up in there, there was 3 of us on the bus because I picked a couple of kids up from Newcastle on the way. And this other kid was brand new as well. He'd never been to jail, but you could tell by looking at him he was fucking petrified. And then there was this other little fucking Raji, he'd been in and out of jail since he's a kid. And you can just see him just sitting there like fucking looking at us, trying to fucking figure us out and that. And I was just looking at him thinking, you're gonna get it, you little cunt. So he got processed first, he went through and he was like looking back at us like that. The other kid sitting there shitting himself, I was just thinking fucking... So we got back on the wing, walked onto the wing, and it was about, I think it was about 60 lads, Friday afternoon, had the new monkey music on, fucking emceeing in there. So this lad was like, what the fuck's going on here, this is mad, this. But you had all your different sections, you had like the Geordie lads, the Mackhams, the Borough lads. And went on there and all that, and then a couple of days later that same kid who I seen in reception, I got up to go to the showers and he fucking put his foot out to trip us up and I nearly tripped over his foot. So I turned around and says, what are you doing, you little fucking mug? Get in the showers now. fucking, he just wouldn't get up. He goes, oh fucking, I'm sorry I didn't mean to. I says, I will fucking, next time.
Put it right on.
Oh,
So was that, tell us about your first bit of violence in jail, your first fight you can remember having in jail?
the first fight was fucking, it was over a game of pool. Fucking playing pool, and some kid just fucking, he was from up that way, up Northumberland. He was just being a fucking idiot, and I was in that mood. I just wanted to fucking, I wanted to batter some cunt, to be honest.
I know the feeling.
And he was the fucking, he was the one. So he said something. I said, listen man, you fucking divvy, you can't over, then let's go. And the screw shouted over, he goes, Killeen. He says, where do you go back to your pad? So I thought, oh well, fair enough. So we're going back to our pads, because obviously there was fucking, I think it was cameras in the source room. So we're going back to our pads. And he's turned around and looked at it, I've just fucking smashed him straight on a jaw, knocked him clean out on the floor. But give him his juice, he's bounced back up like a fucking spring chicken, got stuck in, we're both fucking windmills. Screws have jumped on me, wrapped her up, got tucked down the block and that. And I think it was fucking 14 days, no source, fucking behind your door. So behind the door, no TV, no source, you're just fucking sitting there with a Zoo magazine.
Long days on that. Long days you're on your telly, not just behind the door. Mate. So, you're in car sitting. I imagine you stayed until you were old enough to go to Durham with 21. 21 you got to Durham?
21, I would like to say it was a week before my 21st birthday. I'd spent 2 months, and I think it was 2 months in there. And we went up to court, went to Durham court, just for the fucking pre-trial review and all that, just to put pleas in, I think it was actually.
Yes, mate.
And I'd had enough of Cassington, it was just full of fucking little divvies. I thought I want to be around fucking real people, you know.
You'd have been at the sort of older end of the spectrum of the lads in there by this time.
But I had like an older head on my shoulders and they're just little idiots, you know. Just fucking.
I imagine you still been a bit of a big frame of lad even at 2021, you know.
Well, when I went in, I was 15 stone when I went in. 6'4". We went down to Durham Crown Court, and they were gonna send us back up to Cassington. Well, I stood up. I said, "Listen," I says, "I'm 21 now." I says, "Send us in Durham." So the fucking the judge.
Just for sentencing?
No, this was just for
pre-trial hearing or something. Right, well, entering a plea.
So they were gonna send us back to Cassington. Well, I thought, fucking, I've had enough of that place. I want to go into Durham, a proper jail, you know.
Yeah.
So they sent us into Durham. Yeah, where you know yourself, get off the bus there, and you look across the ear wing, big old Victorian jail, and you're thinking, fucking hell, this is there.
Did you have the same excitement as going to, with the YOs? Sorry, he's got to Durham as you did the YOs.
It was because it was like, because I'm gone into the next level now.
Landed. Madness.
So I got off the bus, went into reception, and I met me, who I'm still fucking very good friends with now, another lad called Ricky. I met him in reception, sitting talking to him. I'm in for 2 Section 18s because I hadn't been sentenced for the other one. So I'm in for 2 violent offences. We're talking away in reception. And I said to him, I looked at him because he looked like a he'll kill us for saying this, he looked like a little college boy. And I was thinking, he must just be in for a fraud or something again. And I got to talk to him, he was in for 2 Section 18s as well.
Were you high risk? Did you get a pad mate?
I did for a bit, but then when I'd been in Durham for a bit, it was fucking, I had about 9 different pad mates. And they put us in with this lad, fucking this African lad who couldn't speak English. And he'd just be sitting there, sitting watching the telly, and he'd just be like, he wasn't watching the telly, he was sitting observing me. And I was thinking, what
watching
the fuck's this cunt doing? So I'm sitting, I'm trying to talk to him, have a conversation with him, trying to fucking teach him a little bit of English. And he'd just be getting his notepad out, he's sitting like that. I was thinking, what the fuck's going on here? So when he went to work, I got his notepad out and had a look, and he was writing in English, but he was writing doing like the conversation we'd been having, and I thought, he fucking stunk as well. Didn't get a shower out. I thought, I can't be putting up with this, like. So I said to the screws, I says, listen, I says, if you didn't get me in a single pad, I said, some cunt's getting fucking battered, like, because I've had enough of this. I said, I'm waiting to get sentenced. I says, and you put us in with 9 different people. So they said, right, we'll see what we can do. But at the time, I was seeing the CPN, the community psychiatric nurse, and I was seeing him that same afternoon. And I laid it on a bit thick to him. He says, how are you feeling? I said, well, I says, when my pad mate started watching the telly, I says, I feel like I just want to attack him. I said, I'm getting these funny feelings and that. Because I knew what I was doing. I said, so I got back to the wing and about 6 screws come in and they just said, right, Killeen out the pad. And they put us in a single pad. Obviously the psychiatric nurse had a duty to inform, so he said, listen, I thought, sweet, I fucking felt relaxed then, you know. But yeah.
So, tell us a little bit of the run up now you're feeling when you were at court for your sentencing.
Well,
before you got your sentence, as you were heading to court, obviously they took you on the bus to court.
Well, what was happening leading up to it, I started having these fucking mad feelings and that, and I didn't have a clue what it was. And I was having like these overwhelming feelings where like when I was talking to someone, I felt like they could see what was happening to us. And this is what I was seeing the CPN for. And he explained to us what was happening to us was anxiety. I was having panic attacks.
It's your first experience with proper anxiety?
First experience it with I'd experienced it from an earlier age, but because I was drinking and taking drugs all the time,
kind of
I thought it was to do with that, you know. But then, like being from the age of 11 all the way up to 21, like 10 years of drinking and taking drugs, and hardly ever a fucking week went by when I was sober. And then all of a sudden I'm in jail with nothing, because I didn't take drugs when I was in jail, because fucking the drugs that were in there just wasn't me, you know.
Yeah.
So then being on a straight head, it was like, fucking hell, my body must have been thinking, what's going on here? So I'm having these overwhelming feelings and that, and it was just fucking severe anxiety and
time to panic sometimes.
Panicking that eye, but what was making it worse, I felt like people could see it. And because I felt like people could see it, I was feeling like insecure, and I was feeling if people knew about it, they would think I was weak.
Yeah.
But anxiety also fucking turns to paranoia as well.
Yes, mate.
Even though nothing's happening, you're thinking in your head it is. So that would be causing bits of friction with lads on the wing, because I'll be like, if they keep looking at us, I'll be like, what the fuck you looking at? Like, yes, you know, like, and I'm nearly getting into fights because of it.
Of course.
And they're like saying, whoa, fucking hell.
And you do that, don't we? We do that as people, don't we? We kind of channel our own, you know, insecurities into usually aggression, or, you know, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, you channel it into aggression, and you target people, don't you, to you know, to get rid of this feeling, you know, to try and channel it somewhere. Yeah. So, how many times you're in and out of court? You know, did you have any pre-sentence hearings or that, where did you just do your remand there and you get sentenced?
Well, I actually went to trial. Because my
Right.
solicitor, my barrister at the time,
sorry, go on.
he said to us, he says, listen, like, fucking just run the trial. He says, you'll win the case, because the only evidence they had on us was my voice. They recognised my voice through my balaclava. Obviously, because I had the balaclava, there was no fingerprints, there was no forensic evidence. Yeah, so I took it to trial, and fucking I got found guilty just through my voice, voice recognition. So I fucking
Is this for a combination of the both Section 18? Or did you go guilty for the first one?
I went guilty for the first one, because when I went up for that one, I pled guilty to
immediately in the interview.
So when I went for sentencing, they dropped it to Section 20 wounding. But I took like a plea on that one, because I was going to get sentenced for that. Yeah, and so I took a plea on that, and then obviously I went to trial on the other one, got found guilty, and then 5 minutes later I got sentenced to fucking 99 years, life imprisonment, IPP. Like, all of a sudden I'm thinking I'm going to win this fucking trial, and then I'm sentenced to fucking IPP with 99 years. I was thinking, what the fuck is going on here? But that's when it like fucking dawned on us, you know. I turned around, looked in the gallery, see me, looked up and see me family, and like I looked at them and I couldn't even speak. I just fucking waved at them, put my heat down, and just fucking went.
What was your emotions like on the bus on the way back?
It was all mixed emotions. It was like, obviously, I wanted to go to prison from an early age, but I didn't want a fucking life sentence. And then
be careful what you wish for, mate.
Exactly, I've said that to loads of people, be careful what you wish for, because bad things happen when you wish for something fucking like that, you know what I mean? If you're wishing for something bad like that, then it kind of come around and bite you on the fucking arse.
I can imagine, and I can't sit here and say I know how you feel, because I don't know how you feel, you know. you land back on the wing, you've got 99 years up your ass,
Aye.
you know, how you process that?
Well, it gets back into Durham, but then I got my head around it quite quick, and I was just thinking like the next step where I want to get to now is fucking Frankland, which is a maximum security. But because I've been sentenced to 99 years, it put us at fucking like high risk, and they put us at maximum security, you know. So they'll still kept us in there for a bit longer, because obviously with Frankland, with it being a lifeless prison, the prisons are full, so they've got to wait for someone to get moved on before you can get in. Like Durham, there's a quick turnaround.
Of course there is.
But that was another one. Like I was on association playing pool with the lads. I was shouting over to the screw. I said, "What's happening with this move over to Frankland?" I said, "Can you hurry it up?" And the lads were like, "Fucking hell, are you mad? You want to go to Frankland?" Like I said, "Oh, we are." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my dad was in Frankland
At the time?
at the time, because my dad had been lifed off for a murder when I was 18. And obviously that's what fucking sent me like worse as well, you know, my head was fucking fucked up. But I got sent over to Frankland.
What age were you here? 22 or something?
I was just before, I was still 21.
Wow.
21-year-old fucking. But on the way over there was about 6 of us, all getting transferred over, all IPPs. And the same lad, Ricky, who I met in reception in Durham on the first day, he got 4-year IPP as well, he got life off. So we both went over to Franklin together. That's how we become close friends, you know, because we're in Franklin together for 3 years.
See, I think, in my opinion, you know, I think them IPPs were a bit unfairly dispersed myself, you know. I mean, I'm not saying you didn't deserve some prison time, because it sounds like you did, indeed, you know. But I mean, to get an IPP, you know, and for it to say 99 years on outside your pad, you know what I mean, seems very extreme.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I'm not saying you didn't deserve some prison, because you did. But I definitely feel that them IPPs were sort of unfairly dispersed.
Oh, definitely.
You know, a lot of people deserve prison, you know, but they don't deserve an IPP, you know. You get to Franklin, mate.
Well,
you know, what's life like in there?
Well, the IPPs, like I'll tell you a little bit about them first. Obviously,
yes,
you know I've been in there, but just for the viewers and that.
Yes, mate.
These IPPs were brought out for the most dangerous offenders, and they were only supposed to give like 1,000 out. And they were actually brought out for nonces. Because I found this out when I was in Franklin, when I was talking to a psychologist. She said to us, she said, do you know these sentences were brought out for paedophiles and nonces? Because when they were getting fixed sentences, they were blatantly saying they were going to, when they get released, because they had a release date, they were blatantly saying they're going to do it again when they get out. So I can understand why they brought the IPPs out. I agree with them for them, because they are fucking dangerous to the people, to the fucking public. So, but they ended up giving 7,000 IPPs out, and they ended up giving them out to teenagers. There's a lad, you probably even heard of him yourself, Danny, 17-year-old when he got IPP. I think it was a street robbery, pinched, it was either a mobile phone or a mountain bike off another kid, 17-year-old with a knife, you know what I mean? He didn't stab him, didn't use any, he just said, "Give us your fucking phone," took it off him. 17-year-old, the judge slammed him with IPP, give him a recommendation that he served 18 months, I think it was. It's now 17 years later and he's still in there.
Wow.
It's fucking crazy.
What was your recommendation when you were sentenced?
Mine was a recommendation of 4 years.
Yeah. And just so the, you know, people know what we're talking about with that, you know, that means, you know, your case won't be looked at, you know, you won't be processed, you know, and you won't progress any further to being decategorised, or, you know, your release won't even be looked at, will it?
No.
For them, you know, for that period of time.
Yeah.
But like you say, there's a lot of people done decades, you know, on an IPP, you know, regardless of what the recommendation was. So you spent the majority of that recommendation in Franklin?
I've spent the majority of it there in Franklin, but Franklin was fucking, it was one of the best jails I'd been in, for the simple fact that everybody in there is like, the majority of people are fucking the decent lads. They were just like myself, you know. And they like a lot of them were fucking big and proper notorious gangsters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fucking, they're all decent lads, so you got on with them. Whereas like these other prisons, you've just got all fucking, it's 90% of them are like smackheads and that, you know what I mean?
Oh, so it's 99% Raji, isn't it? When you go in like Durham and that's that quick of a turnover. But I've heard this, I mean, I've never been to Frontline, I've never been to a lifers jail, mate. But I can imagine the lads are a lot more settled in, you know what I mean? There's obviously there could be violence in it in any prison. But I can't imagine it being like the madhouse that like Durham is, you know, the up and down. I mean, obviously there's a lot of dangerous men in all prisons, but like you say, the turnaround in Durham, you know, it's like, it's, you know, it's just mental, isn't it? You know, it's absolutely mental.
Oh, crazy.
But I can imagine, you know, they've been a bit more settled in, you know, and everyone's a bit more calmer in their approach, you know, because you're in there for the long haul, you know what I'm saying? Tell us a bit about the atmosphere and the environment, you know, on the particular wing you were on.
See, what it is in Franklin, them sort of prisons, it's not very often it goes off, every few months or something, but when it goes off fucking big style, you know what I mean? Like the second day I was there, because my dad was there and he knew a few of the lads, you can cook your own food in Franklin. There's like a kitchen with cookers and all sorts, you know. So the lads said, like, as a bit of a welcome, how we're in the kitchen, we'll cook you a steak and that, so we're cooking a steak. And I looks over and there's a pan, a big pan like that, filled up with oil just bubbling away. And I was thinking, what the fuck's going on here? And there was a terrorist in the kitchen, couple of terrorists in the kitchen. He was doing his life with a recommendation of 40 years. He was the head of Al Qaeda in the UK. But one of the lads come in, picked the pan up, just went up behind him, tipped it over his head. And I just looked, I was literally 3 foot away, and I could just see his hair and his skin just peeling off and dropping down the back of his head. And I was like, fuck yeah, no, this is mad, you know what I mean? But the tension on the wing after that was fucking unreal, because there was a lot of black lads on the wing, say about 20, but they were all Muslims, and they all stick together. So even though these lads might not agree with the terrorist, but because they're all Muslim, they all stick together. And there was some big naughty fuckers there, you know what I mean? And it was like, they all came round and they were ready for it, and it was like, fucking hell, it was a big standoff on the wing. And we were thinking like, anyone could just be free game, you know what I mean?
So were you on the wing with your old man at any point?
He was on the same wing when I landed there.
You pleased to see him when you first seen him?
Oh, it was fucking, it was mad.
How long had you not seen him since during that time?
They took us over from Durham, because I'd been in Durham a few months. I got took from Durham into Frontline just for like an inter-prison visit. So they took us both into the visits room and had a visit with everybody else. But I used to go into Franklin to visit my dad on a weekend, and I'd be telling him about the stories about us going out fighting, what I've done this one, done that one. And he did say to us, he goes, you want to watch what you're doing, because you're going to end up in here, you know what I mean? And then before I knew it, fucking I'm in there with him, you know what I mean? But
what about your old man now, may I ask? How's he doing on? How's he getting on? He's still in prison?
He's out now, yeah.
Good.
He's out now, he's in his 70s. He's not living in this area, he's not allowed around here. But he's alright.
Good. So mate, tell us about you approaching the end of your sentence, or tell us a little bit about once you've served your recommendation, you know, what's the process there? How did you go about getting a release date, you know? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I'll just tell you a little bit Franklin about that terrorist, like when I was on about the friction and all that.
Please continue.
About a week after that, there was another terrorist on the wing, and he was serving 40-year life sentence as well, but they've got nothing to lose, these lads, right? So he's thinking he's the next target. So there was a couple of the Geordie lads sitting around the table having some scran. He's come out of the kitchen, just went like that, tipped the pan over this lad's head, sitting eating his beans, tipped the fucking pan of oil over his head, and his head just swelled up like a big water balloon. It was like, fucking hell. And he done that just to get off the wing. And well, like I say, when it went off, and there went off fucking, there was another kid, he was called Sharpie. He's from down here, he's from down Yorkshire. His dad's well known, Sykes, Paul Sykes I think his name is. And this was his son, Sharpie, big naughty cunt. He was doing a 30-year tariff for killing the copper with his fucking bare hands. Stove his face in with a fucking knuckle duster on. So he was going round, he was taxing fucking the drug dealers on the wing. And a couple of the lads must have thought fucking like, we need to nip this in the bud. So I've seen this happen as well. He was standing in the pad talking to someone, and some lad come up behind him, little ginger lad from London, fucking full of smack because he got paid smack. He's off his nut, eyes red as fuck. He's got a coffee jar just full of chili. Went up behind him, stuck it in his neck, twisted it, and the fucking chili powder's fucking all over. And the big kid Sharpies just turned, run, fucking went, chased him down the wing. Blood squirting out of his fucking neck. But then the lad ran in the broom cupboard, shut the door, and the fucking screws stopped them from getting in. But as he's getting took off the wing, the whole wing's just clapping, go on, boo, off the fucking, you know, like, cause nobody liked him because of what he was doing. But yeah.
I can imagine things like that, seeing, you know, come with a bit of trauma. Do you still think about the other things like that, ever replay in your head, you know, even now?
It didn't really affect us, to be honest, like, no. Seeing stuff like that, fucking, obviously because of the way that I was, not, you know what I mean? But yeah, there was another instance, one of the lads down the wood mill shop, the lads used to get big spikes, like that, a metal spike, I can't remember where they got them, and they used to sharpen them up for the lads doing the fucking thing. So if you've got people, fucking lunatics, walking around with these big spikes and that, you know what I mean? And there was this one lad who was in debt. This kid went running up behind him with a spike and just stuck it in his neck, fucking went all the way in, you just seen it. You pull it out, it was just a hole, just started squirting out, and I was like, fucking hell.
You seen folks killed in there?
I've seen someone close to it, a lad from down Middlesbrough, got it fucking, he was fighting with a couple of the Muslim lads. He got picked up, rugby tackled on his head, nearly snapped his neck, he's on the floor out, and they're just booting him all over, stamping on him up and down. With this black kid was fucking, I think he was a rugby player type, he was fucking massive. You used to see him in the gym curling 100k on his arms on a bar. This is how strong the cunt was, you know. And he's just booting them all over, stamping all over his head. I thought he was dead, like I didn't actually see that, but a couple of lads come round tell us, but he was fucking bit of a cabbage after that, like a good lad as well.
Naughty times, naughty times.
But I'd been in there about 3 years, but there was a lot of drinking going on in there, and sessions and that, and like Christmas and that. At the time, the Christmas, it was a party, we had a Christmas party in the pad, it was about 10 of us. And I remember saying at the time, saying to my pals on the phone back home, I said, fucking, I've had one of the best Christmases I've ever had. It was fucking mad. Everyone's fucking off the tits and that, fucking tunes pumping, big buckets of hooch. And it was fucking mad, good old fucking party.
And it's mad, isn't it? Because, you see, I'm not trying to glamorise prison, you know, I wouldn't do that. But the time, you know, the time I spent in there, I've only spent about just over 6 months in there in total. But I have to be honest, you know, some of the best laughs I've ever had. The best laughs I've ever had in my life, mate, because that's all you've got. Each other's banter and the comedy and the banter, the comedy factor of doing stupid things, you know what I mean? Where were we going then, mate? That was it. How did you get decategorised, and how did you, you know, come about your 4 year? So you served your 4 year in Frankland.
I was up to maybe 4 year point in Frankland, but I'd done a 6 month drug and alcohol course. It was like an intense everyday course, and it did actually change my outlook, that course, because I spoke about things that I'd never spoke about before, that was fucking making us the way I was. I opened up on the course, and like after I'd started talking about things, opening up, I just felt totally different, felt that much better.
Do you think it was a release?
It was a release, but I was on the course with different lads who were in for murder and that, and hardened lads, you know, and you were seeing them talking about their problems, and they're breaking down crying in front of you, and like everyone was just fucking getting all the built up anger and emotions out and just talking about it, and you could see a change in everybody, you know.
Yes, mate.
But I think if this sort of stuff before it actually got to prison, it would save a lot of heartache and a lot of aggro, because if people fucking dealt with the problems, they wouldn't end up in prison.
Absolutely, mate. I can relate to that. I can identify with that, mate, in a big way. You know, part of this fellowship at the minute, mate, and you wouldn't believe the relief you get from talking about your problems.
Yeah.
You know, they say a problem shared is a problem halved. Well, I mean, if you were sharing it with a lot of people, it's better. It's more than halved. You know, you feel this unburdening of grief and whatever you're carrying about with you. You feel this unburdening, you know, due to just speaking and different people in the room identifying with you. Like you say, sometimes when you're talking about your problems, excuse me, you feel like you're the only person in the world that's suffering from these things, that's carrying these things, you know. And when you start identifying with other people, you realise you're not the only one, and it brings a little bit of normality into how you're feeling, you know. Absolutely.
When you're dealing with your issues, not because like in this year after I'd done that course, because we were getting pissed that much